We literally were raised in a barn. I was about 12. It was a very busy hay day. My sister and I milked the cows for the first time alone. We were so short we actually had to swing up on the stall in order to plug the milkers into the pipeline. And I made a career out of it.
This particular farm my grandfather bought in 1922. I think he had like 19 cows when he started in. And my dad started in with him in the 1940s. I actually started milking cows when I was 12 years old. When I was about 24, 3, I started in dairy into 1976 there. And I've been farming there ever since too, so. And Megan bought the property from my dad.
I work off the farm for a company that specializes in calf nutrition now, so baby animal nutrition. That helps me to be able to pay some of the bills on the farm, and I help on the farm nights and weekends whenever I can as well.
The land base is about 220 acres, about 100 acres of hay ground. It's all grass hay now. We don't do any other crops, just grass hay, and that's what the cows graze on too. And then we rent another 100 acres of hay ground. So we manage it pretty intensively, 2 to 3 cuttings a year to get the quality we want. The milking is pretty conventional in the old barn. It's 120 years old. It's been updated probably in 76 might have been the last time, but the equipment works most of the time. Milk 50 cows now, mostly Jersey cows, and the advantage of the Jersey cow is higher protein, higher fat. They average about 50 pounds of milk per cow.
My husband and I are really excited to kind of diversify our farm into a little bit of a retail beef business. Our wedding present to each other when we got married 3 years ago was 7 mama beef cows. That was kind of the start to our herd. We're hoping the beef cows will be able to graze land that hasn't been grazed on for a couple generations, be able to use some of the fields that are really hard to get to or really wet. Currently, we have just developed a website. We received a grant from the Watershed's Economic Viability Micro Grant Program. We're able to develop a really neat, mobile-friendly, can take orders website. I really enjoyed that process working with the web designer.
Precision food management is controlling what goes in the cow so we can better manage what comes out of the cow. Our main concern is phosphorus, and we can monitor it in a lot of different ways. You guys have been in the program since it started in 2016. One of our first projects was a water wagon on the pasture.
That has really helped us a lot. Before we had the water system, the cows would actually have to walk all the way down the hill to a point of water source, which was a pretty big hike for them. So the water wagon let us use some pasture we weren't able to use in the past.
We just needed something to hold the cows over and keep their milk production up, keep their water intake up while they were on pasture in the hot summer.
And with the rotational grazing that we now do, the water wagon was mobile so we could go to different lots every day and take advantage of the water, and the cows could stay in the spot and make the best advantage of their grass.
We're very blessed to live in a place that there's plenty of water. But that being said, it's hard to control it all. WAC has really helped us make modern advancements to our small farm and help to control the water.
We take baleage samples ongoing whenever you get into new stuff.
And that's a big advantage because we do 3 or maybe even 4 different cuttings this year, and the samples tend to be quite a little different for each cutting, so the samples help us pick which baleage to feed to the cows and get the most out of it.
And then Meg adjusts the diet based on the baleage.
I think the baleage sampling part is really important because one of the downsides to baleage is it varies. The other thing that varies a lot is the actual weight of the bale, depending on how much water is in it. So that sample tells us the moisture and the protein and energy that is available to the cow, as well as some of the micro things is what we use in formulation.
So the precision feed program helps us balance set baleage with the type of grain that we buy in order to get the most efficient production level out of the cows. So that's the overall goal from our standpoint, is to get as much milk for the money we invest in the grain.
Part of taking a baleage sample for the watershed is seeing where the phosphorus is, because we've been able to adjust the phosphorus in your grain so that the cows aren't getting any excess, which is good for you guys because the excess phosphorus doesn't help you with anything. And it's good for us because the phosphorus is where we worry about water quality being affected. Your nutrient management planner took a manure sample in 2015 and then again in 2018, and the phosphorus was reduced by half between those years. And we started PFM in 2016, so
That's great.
it might have something to do with that.
When we made the big change of selling all the forage equipment and switching just to grass and purchase grains, then there was a learning curve that they helped us work through as far as balancing our rations. And what do we get together? 4 times a year probably? And they're here doing forage samples whenever we have new harvest. It's a good team.
One of the things I like about precision feed management is getting together to have a meeting is just kind of a platform for a discussion where we can have a discussion about lots of things that are going on in our farm. Even though the feeding program is the main purpose of the meeting, I think it is good to lay things out, both what fields we're going to do, what kind of manure program we want to have on the fields, anything different we want to do with pasture. We have all of those discussions at those meetings as well. And it also lets us think about our goals every year too, and kind of really look at it. I think we get busy as farmers and we don't really think of the planning piece of it, and I think that's what precision feed brings to our table.
One tie together that with the PFM program is the prescribed grazing BMPs, the infrastructure that we've been able to do out here that has really allowed you to effectively rotationally graze your pastures. That kind of marriage between the PFM program and the BMP program of WAP, I think that's just a good illustration of bringing it all together, all with the same goals, really, of water quality and improving your pasture, improving your forage intake. And now we've got the concrete bridge, so it's a much better environmentally, but also on the cattle's feet.
Definitely been a big improvement, because right where we're standing after the storms we just had, we'd be standing in mud. The cows would have to walk through mud, and this is dry and able.
It was really steep going out of the river as well, our nice hilly land.
When you re-enrolled your CREP buffer, we're actually able to use cost share dollars from that to implement the bridge, making the conservation dollars on this farm go that much farther. I'd say that was a big win.
We're good at taking care of cows. We're not so good at building manure storages and structural things like that. It has been a blessing for our farm just to be able to afford those things and then have the design expertise and push forward to get it done.
So this calf housing BMP is for calves on this farm 0 to 6 months. It's one of the few in the watershed that we did it that way.
It's been really a good replacement over trying to raise them in front of their mamas in the dairy barn and that type of thing. They have their own spot.
They've been so much healthier here in their individual pens and just able to take the best care of them possible.
You know, one of the reasons why we separate the calves from the dairy herd is the management of the calf manure, the pathogens that could be in that manure that the calves shed. Cryptosporidia is a high risk to the drinking water. When you spread the manure that has crypto in it, it could run off to the stream and then it's not going to be able to be treated. So that's one of the main focuses, and healthier calves emit less pathogens.
And last fall, you were able to put a cover over our manure storage, so now the manure can ferment for length of time and heat before it is spread.
That was part of a repair and replacement to the whole structure. We put a new roof over the whole building itself and updated components like the washroom to help you manage effectively this BMP.
It's been a good way to raise a family, and we have 2 grandsons that like to come home to Nana and Pop's farm now and then, and it's a good place to call home.
I never had to wonder what career path I would want to take because I knew it would involve agriculture and cows in general. I've kind of made it my own, and I'm very happy to have a career in the dairy industry and to be looking to continue on our small farm as well.